How many of you know the name Joanne Chesimard? That's Assata Shakur. That's her given name, her legal name. I read this tweet here. I'll share it on the screen here. This tweet here is by Polymath. I'll zoom in for you and say, my favorite story about Assata Shakur was the time she robbed a church and threatened to blow the priest's head off over $1,800 that was set aside to feed the poor. The perfect socialist, he went on to write. And so here's a tweet from DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America. Rest in power, Assata Shakur. The American state brutally oppressed Assata and her Black Panther comrades. The Cubans welcomed her and other Black revolutionaries with asylum. And their solidarity and loyalty allowed Assata to live out her days in Havana. And here is Assata here, presumably. This is in Havana. And they say Assata has been wanted by the FBI since she escaped prison in 1979. Found guilty in 1977 for the murder of State Trooper Werner Foister on bank robbery and other felonies. She was sentenced to life in prison there. And so here is the article, that was referenced by the guy. And so you can see the headline here in the obituary of, Monsignor John Powers, champion of Brooklyn's downtrodden. He dies at 87. His aggressive agenda as a pastor and civic leader in Brownsville and Bushwick laid the groundwork for a remarkable recovery. Brownsville is a fairly poor area in, I think it's East New York, close to East New York there. And so if you Google for Chesimard's name here, you will see it says, people didn't always respond that way. One morning in 1972, Joanne Chesimard, that would be Assata Shakur, and two other members of the Black Liberation Party forced Father Powers at gunpoint to open a safe and hand over $1,800 in bingo money. When he struggled with the combination, one said, "We usually just blow the heads off of white men," he told the Village Voice in 2019. "I guess I was lucky." He later became active in an organization of progressive priests called Voice of the Ordained. Article from the Village. Here's the article from the Village Voice here, where it talks about him being robbed. And so this looks like it was at a school board meeting here, and the pertinent part of the article is highlighted here. Among the radicals was a trio who arrived at presentation one evening asking Powers to write a letter. Powers was the Monsignor there, for a job-seeking relative just out of jail. Quote, "I look up and they had 345 automatics pointed at me," end quote. He was ordered to open the church safe with his $1,800 in bingo money. "Twice I couldn't open it," one of them says. "We usually blow the heads off of white men." The safe finally complied. Powers was gagged, hooded, and locked in a bathroom. When the police arrived, they showed him pictures of likely suspects. He recognized one of the robbers. It was Black Liberation Army leader Joanne Chesimard, aka Assata Shakur. I didn't know her, but I had heard that a few weeks before she and others had robbed and killed a white real estate broker on Howard Avenue. I guess I was lucky. So you see here that the New York Times did not mention that she apparently robbed and killed a white real estate broker, nor did they mention the name Assata Shakur. The New York Times only mentioned the name Joanne Chesimard. Now, the priest whose life the radicals spared continued his mission. When federal job training funds arrived in the mid-70s, he helped local residents renovate 5 buildings on Pacific Street. I live not far from Pacific Street. A few years later, organizers from the Saul Alinsky-inspired Industrial Areas Foundation were invited into the neighborhood. Powers helped found what eventually became East Brooklyn Congregations. Leaders hatched plans for hundreds of one-family and low-cost homes to be built on East Brooklyn's vacant, rubble-strewn tracks there. And anyway, so this is Joanne Chesimard, or as she is affectionately known as Assata Shakur. She robbed the church for bingo money. And we talked the other day about how she was once honored with a mural at Marquette University. And a lot of people are lauding her as a hero on her death while denigrating Charlie Kirk. And you kind of can see the difference in the two people there. Charlie Kirk was never accused of robbing a church, and Joanne Chesimard was. Once again, thank you for joining here. I am John Galt. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.